welcome back, Wizards and Muggles, to another episode of the Wizard Factory podcast. Today's episode's a very special one. We are joined by Sethikus Boza of Black Earth Productions. He is a student and a teacher of the occult science and the founder of Black Earth Productions and Blue Flame Healing Arts. So welcome, Sethikus, to the show, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me come on. I'm really excited to get into things with you.
Absolutely. Very glad to have you on.
So let's just dive right in here. Lot of ground to cover. Obviously, Sethikus is a man who knows his stuff, and there's no end to the rabbit holes that we can get in here today. So we wanted to kind of start by discussing a bit about the arts of gnosis, which you are very well versed in: astrology, the tarot, and numerology. So discussing the importance of these sciences to know yourself and explore yourself, essentially.
It goes back to the fucking fact that if people do not know these arts and sciences and they do not know how to work with them effectively, knowing how to apply it to their actual fucking existence, the labyrinth of fucking reality. They do not know how to navigate consciousness. They do not know how to navigate reality. They don't even know who the fuck they are. They don't know why they do what they do. They don't know why they see things the way they see things, why they experience life the way they experience life, why they react and respond the way that they do. And in light of the contrast, especially when it comes to interactions with other people, it all goes back to the question, why do people do what the fuck they do? And if you ask the average individual, you can study this for yourself. Go up to anybody. If I were to ask you who you are, what would you say? And then just observe what they tell you. Most people are going to tell you what they do for occupation, because where people are getting their identity and how people are indoctrinated into the systems of domination and control. This is what and who people think they fucking are. And then when they're confronted with the reality of what these arts and sciences reveal, this is the last fucking thing that the powers that be want people to get into. So most people that know about astrology are given over to a pseudoscience with it. I'm not an astrologer, I'm an astropsychologist. And getting into the mind and what the mind actually fucking is and what this art and science reveals to the individual is the system mechanics of planetary high magic. This is what the fuck it really is. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot more I can say to the effect of how this has greatly empowered my own existence, being in the position. You're just getting into the fucking door of initiation here. The Western and Vedic and other systems of planetary high magic that I encourage. Okay, there's a lot more in context to different systems of gnosis that people can explore. Logan, you did the initiation with me, or initiated into the Blue Flame Healing Arts and Occult Science. And it was very powerful, man. You are an individual that can see this yourself, and you obviously been applying this to your existence. Brian, you've been applying this to your existence. So, I mean, what do you guys think to that in context to the effect of working with this and what it actually fucking reveals?
Oh, man, I can't express in words just how profoundly coming into this art and science of understanding the macrocosm has been to me in my life. In 100% agreement with you on how not only help me understand how I am operating, but understand the other world around me, help me understand other people. And I like to look at it this way, with an analogy. If you're wanting to look at a math problem and understand the solution that if you were this problem, you need to understand each of the variables and how they are interacting with each other. And when you can become aware of that, you can then choose how to work with those energies. I very much approach astrology in the same way, that you're really wanting to use it to understand the individual. You're not wanting to look at it from a victimhood mindset. You're
Right.
simply understanding the factors and the energies and influences, and then learning how to navigate with those and use them instead of just being influenced and not being aware of them. Awareness brings choice, and it's all about bringing more and more awareness, because then we have more and more choice of being able to exercise our free will in alignment with cosmic law. to start to fix all the shit that has went.
Cosmic law is foundational prerequisite teaching that needs to be known even before getting into these arts and sciences. You're not going to be able to know how to navigate these arts and sciences until you learn how to master cosmic law. Going into astropsychology, the moon is the absolute most important factor in context of how I'm teaching science. Because this in turn goes back to how our thought and motion actually operate as individuals. It's important to note that thought and motion is not reality. You guys ever notice how you get up on your head about shit and the gears start fucking grinding, and the emotional charges and the stress and the inner dialogue is all fucked up? This all goes back to why they do mind control, because these motherfuckers know that it's all about your state of mind. And so where do they hit us? On a cosmic level, at the fucking roots. At the roots, which is the moon. Now, to that, most people think that this art and science specifically is absolute fucking bullshit, otherwise demonized by religion. Which in turn is a reversal that's happening within the codex of individuals. And then when they start to approach these things, they don't know how to fucking work with it. They're afraid to look into it because it's been demonized by religion.
Right.
And so by controlling that fucking narrative through religion, keep people away from the arts and sciences that would actually reveal to the individual who the fuck they are. They should be teaching astrology to children in 2nd grade onwards.
Absolutely. I wish I would have had this as a young person. For sure, it would have helped me so much. And part of that apophatic process, I went and had my experiences, and that was my initiation in being able to navigate through this shit by myself, and then eventually come to a point where I'm finding others that are also discovering these things or in finding the same knowledge, putting it all together.
Think about what they fucking do to children. I mean, we experience this as well. Children are not being taught how to think. They're being taught what to think, what to believe, how to view the world through the fucking poison lens of these fuckers that are controlling shit behind the scenes. And it is also the fucking note that they are using all of these arts and sciences against us on a daily basis. This is what most people don't understand. Okay, it's not millionaires that study astrology; it's fucking billionaires. It's these wealthy motherfuckers that know how reality works. And what astropsychology reveals to the individual is the system mechanics of their own psyche. And if you don't know how to navigate the psyche, then you're not going to be able to discern what is truly there within the mind field of the individual, ruling them on an unconscious, subconscious level. It's not just the mind control. It's not just the dark sorcery that we're dealing with. We're dealing with the fact that people don't know how to navigate sound, consciousness, energy, frequency, and vibration. And with this art and science, this is one of the very first places that people can go and start to learn this shit for real.
For sure. I mean, the mind is the meeting ground between the spiritual and the physical realms. So if they're controlling that by law of correspondence, that's going to play out on both realms, and they've got you by the balls at that.
Yeah, point. You don't even get out of the gate with the first law.
Right. And like you were saying, that people aren't taught from a very young age. They are in a state of arrested development, moving on into their adult lives. They're like children that don't have the skills to navigate and be responsible, sovereign individuals.
Right, well, they get the skills to be a fucking slave. Another thing that this art and science reveals to the individual is how to come into alignment with their fate, with their actual true purpose and destiny here in Midgard. Okay, and this of course goes back to the North Star. Take it off the motherfucking shelf, people, and dust it off and look into this shit for real, because what it will reveal to you if you take time with it. And I'm not just talking about a few weeks, I'm talking about years.
Yeah.
If you take years with it, eventually you're going to see how it all works and see the streamline of navigation within yourself. And this, in turn, is what I teach in context to knowing how to navigate the solar spiral creation. And we all have a unique trajectory with that. The way that it works for you is not the same way that it works for me, is not the same way it's going to work for somebody else. But it is based upon the universal laws of metaphysics and the eternal axioms and how things actually fucking work. Again, going back to cosmic law being a part of the foundation, another part of the foundation that I teach with our mystery school is drawing the circle of the magician. And that's a lot to get into. Being drawn to it all my fucking life. I think a lot of it has to do with who we actually fucking are as teachers to these arts and sciences.
Absolutely.
Well, me, I was brought up in a Christian home. There's a lot of fear associated with that, and God forbids that we dabble in such things. Literally, the stuff that I was told directly that it's forbidden. No. You shouldn't. It's out there, but it's not for us. That sort of thing. And so, for a long time, I didn't have that calling to it. But I have to acknowledge the irony and the sort of synchronicity in context of this conversation, that it was the basis of astrology that Brian approached me and he reached out to me to ask me and say, hey, can I just give you a reading and I get to see what's going on behind the scenes in that head of yours. So it was actually that moment that changed my trajectory as well, because since then, as you can see, we've joined a partnership and we've created the Wizard Factory, and that all started from that foundation. And since I've much more opened my mind into delving into this particular sciences, have that cosmic roadmap looking at the whole big picture of things and the movements of cycles and energy.
For me, it's so reflective of and being useful of tapping back into that animist mindset of observing nature, and then obviously through the law of correspondence. These are the ways through which we're understanding ourselves by being a reflection of the macrocosm. We're reflections of each other.
Because it comes back to consciousness, awareness, and pattern recognition. So when you're learning the patterns of nature, and then when you see them, that light bulb goes off in your mind, and you're like, oh, that's what that is. And then you have like an enlightened insight into what's going on, and therefore how to navigate any given situation.
We live in a world of multiplicity. I don't know about you guys, but given over to my personal disposition, I have to draw the motherfucking circle of the magician, because if I'm not, then my psychic radar is getting jammed the fuck up. I am a quadruple motherfucking Scorpio. Okay.
Likewise.
You know what the fuck I'm saying then, bro.
Yeah, dude, like shit gets crazy. Like in the Vedic system, I'm a Pisces ascendant, but then my moon, sun, Mercury, and Mars are all sitting in the 8th house, always dealing with that energy.
It's very interesting what's revealed when you study different systems of planetary high magic. I'm more versed in the Western. That's the one I've been working with the longest. With the Vedic system, though, for me, it revealed a lot of the darker aspects that are there in context of what's actually happening within the unconscious, subconscious mind field. Mm-hmm. That's what Vedic has done for me. One of the main things. When it comes to the Western system, that's more to do with coming into alignment with the true intelligence that's there within the individual. With both systems, the moon is the absolute fucking most important.
Absolutely.
My moon is in Scorpio in the 12th house. Gauge that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very similar energies. And
we're the motherfucking magicians. We're the motherfucking shamans, man.
Right.
The energy of the 12th house is the shaman.
Right. Okay? Absolutely.
The accumulation of all the fucking energies, including the magicians of the elements. Scorpio being the water magician. Sagittarius is the fire magician. Capricorn is the earth magician, and Aquarius is the air magician. But without knowing where your Libra is, you're not going to be able to transcend into any of the wisdom that the magicians of the elements would have, teaching the other elemental placements leading all the way up to Libra. After Libra is when the magicians present themselves from within.
That's interesting that you say that in the Vedic system. I said I'm Pisces ascendant there, and then with those other planets all sitting in the 8th house, but they're sitting in the sign of Libra. It's just, definitely.
That makes,
and people, they need to start looking at that. And what I found very useful is also being able to identify the Devata planets. Each of these, correlate with one of the levels of our mind. So then we can specifically start to work with the subconscious or the unconscious mind and target it in ritual very specifically. Also finding out the Aruda Lagna and stepping into how to present yourself on your path.
Yeah, like I was saying, when I was not in alignment with that, my life was in total motherfucking chaos.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And, they're such useful tools and they're practical, because this is such a vast science. You could spend fucking lifetimes on it. And
right. And people need to know that factor, that it is a lifelong study. You're not going to get it in a week. You're not going to get it in one fucking session. You're not going to get it in one reading.
Right.
You got to get passion for this fucking shit in order to extract the proper knowledge and wisdom that's truly there with it.
Right. Devotion, which is what the point I was wanting to get to here, is that working with Venus is my Dharma Devata in the Vedic tradition. So the planet that is associated with my unconscious mind. I spend a lot of time diving deep in with this. And I work with Freya a lot as being in association with Venus. And one of the things that was recently revealed to me, on the higher side of it, Venus is also representative of devotion. I asked myself, devotion to what? The answer hit me. It's the devotion to being a human, coming here in Midgard and realizing this is where it fucking happens.
Yeah.
Stop trying to escape outside of yourself and look for something outside of yourself. This reality field fucking matters, and this is where it happens, and it's something that should be experienced fully and not looked at like it's just a fucking prison or you're just a victim and you never had any choice in the matter.
And that's one of the biggest areas that I've personally observed where this subconscious mind virus of monotheism is running fucking rampant. People who swear to themselves that they've renounced religion as bullshit. Meanwhile, those programs are very much still installed and running at full speed in the New Age community, and just this general false piety of you need to be living in squalor and just giving everything away and being a slave to other people and not having any ego whatsoever. All these things are just so self-destructive.
Right.
Absolutely. And I know, Sethikus, obviously, you're a teacher who does not teach the destruction of the ego.
No,
we need
ego,
it,
Right. Ego here in context needs to be mastered. And see, ego goes back to what? The sun. What is your sun sign?
Right.
This is your fucking ego. This is where you are meant to go to potentially tap your true intelligence. Okay, but unless the soul spark, unless that is ignited by the higher force itself, your sun is eclipsed. This is the real fucking issue. It's not the ego, it's what is driving the will force. What is the intention? What is the motivation behind why the fuck people do what they do? A lot of people have problem with motherfuckers that are actualized in context in alignment. Okay, and there was a quote that you put out, Logan. People with subconscious self-loathing will often mistake confidence as arrogance. I was like, fuck yeah, man. That is fucking brilliant, because that's what happens when that soul spark is ignited by the higher force. And now the vibrational correspondence, taking it back to cosmic law, when you get around other people that are not actualized themselves here in context, you literally agitate a fucking cleansing with them. The unconscious projection, the gnashing of teeth, denial, the fucking lying, the fucking bullshit and all this stuff, it just comes flying the fuck out. And people don't see how the mechanics of their psyche is completely manipulated in context to a mind field that is toxic, putrid, and fucking poisoned, which in turn is why people need to come into the alchemical rites of initiation as well and study with the art and science of alchemy. Unless people are doing the real work in context to healing, what do you think is going to be streamlining into the mechanics of their psyche? The mind itself doesn't rest. This is why we dream. This is why we have visions. If you're a seer, I can go into this shit all the time. I'm moon's in the fucking 12th house. I don't need DMT or ayahuasca. I can just fucking drop into it. Knowing how to navigate consciousness and taking the alchemical rites of initiation, this is a part of what I'm encouraging our students to do with our mystery school. It's not enough just to know about your astrology. You have to know how it's been manipulated against you here in context, and all of the bias and blind spots that you have as an individual. This is why mentorship is fucking necessary. Because a lot of people think they can run out and just do shit on their own, but then once they're confronted with reality, or they're confronted with a situation where they're not able to navigate certain things, that's it. It just goes into fucking chaos for those individuals. You know,
they don't have the experience to navigate.
And then they're left wondering, why did certain things happen, or why did this not work the fuck out? It's because people don't know who the fuck they are. This is one of the main things that the Dark Ones do not want us to access, is the knowledge of who the fuck we really are, our true history, our blood codes, our soul codes in context, let alone what the trajectory of our eternal spirit to soul code, blood code essence is on the 3 spirals of creation. And see, a lot of people, they're into the galactic shit. They're into aliens and angels and fucking archons and demons, but they can't even navigate the solar spiral. They can't even navigate their day-to-day thought and emotion, because they are not the master of it. And it's not enough to know about mind control. You have to see how it has had an effect on you as an individual, and then go through that process of cleansing and purging and healing, so that the radar is fucking clear. And you're getting true intelligence from the core essence of who the fuck you really are. And it's not all of these things that are to do with the programming, that are to do with the trauma, things that are ruling people's fucking lives, that think they know what these arts and sciences are all about. And I can see it absolutely fucking clearly all across the board. And I can go on rants, guys, so go ahead and interject.
Well, what that's bringing up for me is, you know, we got into how it's so important to learn to master your ego, but not to put it to death. First of all, it's impossible. Second of all, to do so would be madness and lead to a lot of suffering. And there's a lot of iconography used in ancient artwork and depictions of the sacred goddess with the serpent firmly underfoot. That snake is not dead, its head's not cut off and blood's coming out everywhere, suppressed under that goddess, the divine feminine care. That's so powerful. And they say a picture says 1,000 words. You know, you could sit there and unpack that imagery.
Not only is it important for us to obviously have this knowledge ourselves so we know how to navigate, but that if you do not have this knowledge, how easily it can be used against you. I mean, you can take a few pieces of information and they don't know it, and you can do an absolute fucking number on that person.
And that's why you have to fucking know you.
Right, know you.
So that you aren't fucking manipulated, man.
Right, especially when you're learning these, you need to understand that so you are not misusing this knowledge. There is a great responsibility that comes with it, especially if you are stepping into a role of teaching this knowledge to others, you know, or helping them on the path. You know, you absolutely have to be operating from an authentic place in alignment with that cosmic law.
If you don't know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you will lose 100% of your battles. There's so many people walking through life in such denial of the spiritual warfare that we are in right now. And they take this pacifistic stance on things. And I try to explain, you understand that if someone declares war on you, it's not up to you anymore. You are at war because the war is being brought to you. You are being attacked, even if by very subversive means that you're not even able to detect. And that's a testament to the absolute number that they have done, that people have been so subjugated and demoralized in every fucking way, and they don't even have a clue about it, much less know what to do about it or how to meet that opposition.
There's a lot I could say in context to the real war that's taking place, implemented aeons ago. It's nothing new. When you incarnate, you potentially take a risk of getting a mind wipe, and then you're indoctrinated, and then throughout the aeons, they have all these nets, traps, and snares lined out for people that would potentially be drawn to certain things. But then again, they're controlling the arts, they're controlling the fucking narratives, they're controlling every goddamn facet. How dare anybody go through the real fucking rites of initiation and then come back onto the playing field and completely smash their fucking bullshit? Because listen, this is what the fuck I've been doing, okay? This war is absolutely fucking real. The other factor here in context to what is being played upon, like you were saying, Brian, people don't know this shit. They can just take one or two things and then boom, they fucking got you, man. and then they're throwing you into a fucking tailspin. That's why you can't fuck with certain motherfuckers that know certain things. And when it comes to battles with other magicians, okay, because I've been in many, let alone other factions here in context, things manifesting in the reality field that have their origin in the etheric realm. And this is where it's all fucking happening in context of what's been encrypted within the unconscious, subconscious mind field of individuals. And all they got to fucking do is amplify whatever trauma is there that the person is not willing to fucking deal with. Amplify the fucking shit out of it using your woundedness against you. But when you come onto the playing field with these motherfuckers, they're drawing on stuff that's there within the soul codes and the blood codes that is going back fucking aeons. Okay? And you want to talk about going into the realms of madness in context of fucking warfare. I've been there. I can honestly tell you I'm lucky to be having this fucking conversation with you. I've known people on this path that have been fucking murdered. Not just Max Spears, but other people that have been taken the fuck out. Okay? And once you reach a certain level, now you're starting to put yourself out there. You got to know what the fuck you're getting into. Because I know you guys are just still starting out, you know what I'm saying? I'm in 100% fucking support. I'm going to back up everything you guys are fucking doing. You know, we're all on the same page in context of these arts and sciences. Also with the blood code trajectory of our ancestors. You know, both you got flags. You're throwing your fucking flags up, you know what I'm saying? And this is what the fuck our people need to do, because that's going to set a fucking reminder that we are starting to remember who the fuck we really are. And these motherfuckers can't do anything to fucking stop it. This isn't some kind of trend. This is fucking real.
Absolutely. And it's not just about healing yourself as an individual and finding your pain points and the traumas and the triggers that you have that can be used against you, but this trauma goes back generations, and that you have to step into the intergenerational healing. You have to start looking deeper and deeper and deeper and finding who the fuck you really are. And it doesn't stop. It's a continuous process. It's not just this fucking light switch of all of a sudden you're awake, or, you know, all of a sudden you understand everything. It's a continuous process of destruction and rebirth all the fucking time. And we really have to keep in mind to take it deeper. And I think so much of history has been gaslighted, especially when the Abrahamic mindsets and monotheism solidified the control of this reality field. This was when the animist was being dismantled, and this idea that you were less than something or you need salvation, you don't have the power. That's when this started really solidify. And it's obviously been a process that took a long fucking time, but people need to take it there and work with that, and then continue to take it even beyond that. You know, to keep going.
Dude, in context of what you're saying, I want to touch upon something really quick. The religion of Christianity would not fucking exist without the Codex of Albion, the ancient animist tradition of every race, tribe, and culture of the European people. You could take this back to the Druids. You could take this back to the Nordic tradition in context of blood code lineage, okay? And the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross is an inversion of Odin's sacrifice unto himself on Yggdrasil. This is a fucking fact, okay? This knowledge of the tree in context to the true universal tree of life, Yggdrasil being the spindle of that, this is what it means to come onto the true magical path. This is what it means to know thyself. This is what it means to come into a place of proper knowledge and wisdom. This is what it means to fucking save your own ass. Because listen, the gods and whatever the fuck else people think is going to do anything for them, this is exactly what the dark ones have taught in order to keep people from that, so that they are their fucking slaves, siphoning the genetics and the consciousness into their fucking grid works with the encryption of savior programming. That was an encryption that happened in the Dark Ages when the Dark Priest class officially took over things in this fucking reality field. It's been running out of sense even right now with most people that don't know what the fuck we're talking about here.
I call it learned helplessness. It's like a child that's struggling to do something and then asks for help, and the parent can either just do it for them and then teaches that child, if I just ask for help, I don't have to do it. They'll just do it for me.
Yeah, you're going to go and fuck up that child for life, man, unless they wake the fuck up.
That's exactly what is, is the idea of being saved through Christianity is basically saying, do it for me. I don't have to earn it.
You're not good enough to fucking do it yourself. You need somebody else to fucking do it for you because you're just a fucking absolute fucking piece of shit and you deserve hell and there's no fucking saving you. Think about what the state of mind that individuals that choose to fucking believe this shit encapsulate within themselves. And the ones that were working behind the scenes, and I'm talking about the higher ups in the realms of Christendom, they didn't fucking act like that at all.
The people that claim this great work movement, it's really no different. And I want to believe it isn't so because those are my peers. Those are the community that I want to feel that we're moving towards some kind of effort of helping to speak truth and wake people up. But I can't help but feel that a lot of this same programming that we're talking about is what is at play. And there's not so many within those ranks that are repping this shit that we are. And I think this right here is triggering them, and they're
fucking good. I'm glad it's fucking triggering you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck me and my kind fucking know. And the systems of magic that were implemented, this shit is an age-old war in context to the brotherhoods. And this is what I have been directly a part of ever since my fucking awakening started when I was a child. I was looking up books on fucking UFOs and aliens and the gods when I was fucking 5 years old. And we were all thrown into that fucking wheel of indoctrination in context to the religion of Christianity. We can all relate to that. What this motherfucking movement needs is authentic leadership. People knowing the fucking difference, having been through the goddamn fucking trials. And it's not going to be handed to just fucking anybody here because they go and try to make something fucking happen. They wonder why it falls apart because they're not doing the real work. They don't even know how to apply cosmic law to their fucking existence. You have to come to learn how you operate as an individual. What are your unique system mechanics? And this is the next level that things need to come to. And this is why I've created the platform that I have to initiate people into the rites of passage that they need to actually come into. Okay. It's not just going to be handed. Okay. You're going to be fucking tested. You're going to go through a whole bunch of crazy fucking shit. It's not some kind of hive mind bullshit because again, these arts and sciences are highly unique in what it reveals. Not everybody's meant to do what I do. Not everybody's meant to do what Logan does. Not everybody's meant to do what Brian does. You have to discover what it is that you are here to do and then learn how to master that in context to the will force being actualized and taking action with the Mars energy. Okay, what does Mars reveal? Going back to Venus, what you were saying, Brian, Venus is our passions. Venus is what we are drawn to. Venus is what we are inspired by. Venus is, at its core, everything to do with the relationship you have with you.
Right.
And if you're not good with you, then how are you going to be good in the fucking community? How are you going to be good in relationships? Healing is a major factor here because people think they're just going to jump into occult knowledge and know how to wield magic. And see, this is how the dark ones break everybody up because they're not being directed by any sort of true fucking intelligence. They're not being guided by the higher force. They're being guided by all their fucking programming.
Right. We really developed that concept reflected in the tradition with the crack in the wall of Asgard, that there's this connection between the realm of our belief systems and the realm of the unconscious mind. And when there's trauma there, that trauma is played on and then it triggers this fucking hamster wheel.
Yeah, they amplify it.
Absolutely. And then, you're cutting yourself off, as and if people aren't familiar with it, go back and watch those episodes and see that, the worlds and the realms of yourself, you're cutting yourself off from other people and the connection of your ancestors, as well as the realm of unmanifested potential. So your ability to create your magic, people get stuck. They can't see another way out of it because they've cut themselves off because of this fucking trauma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the imagination here in context to the Imagai has been completely fucking circumvented with most fucking people, man. They don't have any sort of creative capacity to even entertain the idea of the world changing into something fucking better.
Right.
They just passively accept things as they are. They don't fucking question shit. And they just go along on that fucking track, in the fucking wheel, to be spit out again and again and again, like it's been happening the last 26,000 motherfucking years. In 2017, going back to some things that you were sharing, Brian, that is when you were fucking activated as well, which was confirmation to what I've been talking about happens when the ancestors started to awaken. In 2017, the Dark Ones lost their jurisdiction. And I've talked about this in other segments. And this is what people need to recognize, the fact that these motherfuckers have no fucking power except what you give them, and really fucking know that. And really come into the place of owning your own fucking power and learning what it means to become truly fucking sovereign.
We spend a lot of time talking through things and observing different things and behaviors in ourselves and other people. That's one of the biggest things that has been emerging into our consciousness recently. More and more of just beginning to fully reject this idea that we're trapped as slaves and helpless and in this big, this big bad system. And yes, those things exist, but there is so much that you can choose to take power and change your fucking trajectory, and those things have no sway over you.
Everybody at a foundation level and context to initiation into the occult needs to fucking know this shit. You're not going to get past the motherfucking magician card, which is a blinder in the tarot, by the way. They put first before the high priestess. We put the high priestess first before the magician. Okay, and you come into the temple of the high priestess, get ready. Okay, you talked about Freya.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's stepping more and more into the power of that feminine energy. If we look at the mythos, one of the things that we can see is that Freya taught Odin the practice of Seder, and in context of how to, I guess what you would say, use it positively, but also in the context of the dark arts. And I've heard you say this before, and I think it's important for people to know, is that understanding those does not mean you are implementing them, but you do need to understand them. So these are things that have been revealed to me in context of looking at how knowledge is really essentially neutral, and it's all coming down to the intention and the will force and the spark driving that action that really matters, and then seeing how those results play out in the reality field. Like I said, one of the biggest things that I've gotten recently from working with her is that lesson of devotion, of being totally devoted to this experience here in Midgard as a human being, realizing that this is where it all fucking happens. And that was a really important lesson for me, because I tend to, especially with my placements being a Pisces ascendant, and then, my other stuff in the 8th house, I tend to very much want to get lost in the other realms. I always want to be digging. So, I can tend to get so caught in the other realms that I, would forget that I'm here.
Yeah, that's my 12th house in the moon right there too, man.
Right, yes.
The energy, right. The energy of Pisces, again, is the shaman. And so there's a separation that takes place with society, okay? And you also have to be aware of secret enemies and people that come into your trajectory that have hidden fucking motives, right? And Pisces, we've been here fucking done this shit. I don't know how many fucking times. If you have the energy of shaman or any of the 4 magicians, then what I term the 4 pillars of astropsychology, you're an old soul. That is something I can definitely confirm.
Absolutely. So learning to ground myself and realize that Midgard, this is where it happened. That's why my other YouTube channel, the first one that I started, I named it Mastering Midgard. It's all about not being a victim. We're here to master our fucking selves. This isn't a fucking prison. This is a really beautiful experience that we have here. If we choose to step into that fucking mastery, there's nothing, like fucking nothing, that we can't create if we don't want to. But we have to be able to tap into that imagination. Like if we see here, on the Yggdrasil, the realm of Niflheim, the unmanifested potential, that's the, the first realm. It has to start there. So if you want to create any changes we were talking about earlier, you have to first be able to imagine that change. You have to be able to see something different, and then be able to take fucking action to bring that into this reality field, and is what magic is.
Right. And it's like that perfectly aligns with the modern ideas coming out of quantum physics of going from superposition into the singularity. You're pulling that right out of Niflheim, where it's everything, and then it becomes the one.
You're going into the singularity within yourself, into the core intelligence. Okay? Right. And in order for things to manifest in context to happening with other people, you got to have that within yourself first. And see, this is what people don't have, and this is why things fall the fuck apart, because no one's doing the real fucking work.
Right. Another thing that we wanted to delve into that we've mentioned a little bit here was obviously looking at blood code genetics, and this is something that, Logan and I have talked about, but Sethikus, in your work, you speak about soul code genetics, and this was something that we've been wanting to bring up on the channel to get our viewers some clarification on it, because they may not have heard this term, or if they have, they might, still want some more clarification. So we've been kind of waiting for this opportunity to bring you on, get into that a little bit, and, break them down, what the difference is, why these matter, and, how all these things play out here in our reality field.
There's blood codes, which is in context to physical lineage here in Midgard. Your mother's bloodline, your father's bloodline. Study that shit. Study your name. Now, when it comes to soul codes is everything to do with grid works of consciousness on what I term the galactic spiral of creation. The galactic spiral of creation, here in context, is also everything to do with Midgard. When people talk about the Pleiades, when they talk about Arcturus, when they talk about Orion, when they talk about Lyra, when they talk about Aldebaran being the celestial origins of our people, each original race, tribe, and culture has their celestial origins in context to grid works of consciousness on the galactic spirals of creation. Here on Earth, you must first learn how to navigate the solar spiral of creation. Because a lot of people think that they're fucking starseed, indigo child, rainbow child, motherfucking whatever. And they're falling into that spiritual escapist state of mind where they think the goddamn fucking Pleiadians or the Andromedans are going to come fucking save us. And see, it's the same goddamn repackaged savior program fucking bullshit. Okay?
Exactly.
Going back to what I was saying, until humanity recognizes that the heavens above are within us, we're not going to fucking evolve. So soul codes here in context, if you want to know a little bit about me, I have ancient Egyptian high priest genetics from Arcturus and Orion, which give me my abilities as a magician, and also is why I know what I know. Two things that happened in the ancient past when it comes to the fucking brotherhoods. Okay, this is going into prehistory. This is going into our true occult history that you're not going to be taught in fucking school or their secular fucking universities or anything like that. I started to have soul code activations happen back in the year 2000 leading up to the present moment. We're coming into 2020 now. And going through the alchemical rites of initiation with my first real fucking hardcore shamanic initiation, I could not navigate what the fuck was coming into waking consciousness. Once the process takes the individual, you come up on the Dark One's fucking radar, man. And they're going to do everything they can to break out whatever codes are going to potentially activate, because they don't know who the fuck is on the planet. They have no fucking idea who's actually incarnating from motherfucking timeline trajectories in context to past, present, and future, all happening simultaneously here in Midgard. This goes back to the Norns. This goes back to the weave. Weird in context to what's already been woven.
Right.
Here and now, we are in position to get mastery over the spindle again. And soul codes, here in context, it does go into memories and knowledge that would take you back millions of fucking years in trajectory. But again, it's to recognize that when these things are activating, and say when people are having interface with spirits, with entities, or the malevolence when it comes to draconians, reptilians, insectoids, the fucking greys. This is a part of the fucking distortion in context of what the dark gods encrypted with the Dark Priest class. And it wasn't just here on Earth. It was all throughout Midgard. The ancient Syrian V gridworks of consciousness, this is everything to do with the Alpha, man. The original human templates. This is everything to do with the first and second seeding that existed here in our reality field in context to the planetary sphere of Maldek. And Maldek is now the asteroid belt. Take this back to astropsychology. Okay, what are some of the asteroids? Chiron, Black Moon, Lilith, Lucifer, Juno. Okay, Chiron gets into some of the deeply embedded trauma that's there in context to that specific cataclysm that we are holding within our mechanics, that's embedded itself within the mental and emotional bodies of individuals, which is the makeup of the etheric body. And so when blood codes are activating or the soul codes are activating, you're going to have interface with something. Okay, I don't give a shit what people think. If this isn't happening in a very profound supernatural fucking level, then you're not truly being activated. You just accumulated a lot of fucking information about things, and you want to jump on some kind of goddamn fucking bandwagon and then come out as a fucking teacher and talk about these things, but you have no idea what the fuck you're addressing or what you're even talking about. When it comes to my personal soul code lineage here in context, it does go back to the ancient Syrian gridworks. I have ancient Syrian B genetics from the third seeding. And I remember what happened with the first and second seeding. The first and second seeding of the Alfarian human races were almost completely and totally fucking annihilated by the Svartalfar. Okay? And the Svartalfar are in turn what I touched upon in context to the crystalline Syrian beast. And the crystalline Syrian B agenda is all of this AI transhuman fucking timeline bullshit that they're working to encrypt into our fucking reality field right now.
I find that very interesting as well, because there's the Aquarian energy that we're all moving into and working with is that technology. They understand that these energies are there, so there's an inversion of this, trying to twist it and shift it towards the transhumanist agenda instead of being able to recognize it and just simply use it as a tool.
And it's all to cut us off from nature even fucking harder than we already are. Okay?
Exactly.
And nature, the earth itself, the universe, us as individuals in Midgard are the true technology. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, there are people within my inner circle that I've gotten reports from. They said that I have access to literally every fucking grid work of consciousness, not just in Midgard, but all of the fucking worlds and fucking universes beyond. And it's important to note here that Asgard is another fucking universe.
Right.
Niflheim is another fucking universe. Jotunheim, Alfheim. These are different universes. This is a lot to get into, because not everybody has the same trajectory in context to soul codes. When people talk about the Pleiades and Arcturus and Orion, they're just talking about Midgard. They're not talking about what is beyond our physical fucking universe. Okay? And when you start to activate on this fucking level, if you don't got your fucking shit together, okay, and you haven't learned how to master your material existence, you're not going to be able to function in society going through the process of activation and remembering and healing and then coming into alignment with your true intelligence and the trajectory of your true potential fucking destiny.
I think you're definitely on point too. Then when these things start to be activated in yourself, if you don't know how to navigate, you will lose your mind. That's something I experienced myself. And I ended up going into the Marine Corps infantry with, the purpose of, playing out that trauma through violence. And that really, going through that experience, part of the way through it, ended up, there came to a point that like my mind snapped, that these things couldn't be ignored anymore. And then, all of a sudden everything just started clicking for me, and I started going through this initiation, and it just started happening, and there was no fucking stopping it. And I definitely lost my mind at that point and had to rebuild it. But this is that process of destruction and rebirth that you have to understand. That is the alchemical process. You have to know how to both destroy yourself and rebuild yourself. That's the shamanic initiation, is just losing your fucking mind at the point. And then you have to figure out how to find your way out of that insanity. This is why the arts of gnosis and all these other sciences are so fucking useful tools. They give you roadmaps and things that you can use to actually figure out how to navigate yourself, because doing it without them is really fucking hard.
Sethikus, I have a question for you. This is a bit of a shift in subject matter here, but you're someone who studies tarot and practices tarot, uses it. And I'm myself stepping into that as well. I'm very intrigued and interested in it. I know that it's meant to be studied in context or relation to the Kabbalistic tree of life. You don't really subscribe to that. So I'm curious how you sort of coalesce using the tarot without that structure as a framework.
Right. See, what people need to understand, since you draw me out to fucking answer this shit.
Big question.
Right. The first three ancient arts of gnosis take it back to some of the original teaching in context to planetary high magic with astrology, the art and science of numerology, and the tarot are nothing to do with Kabbalah. But what are you talking about? It's in the Kabbalah, right? So does everything else. Now, why do you think that is? See, what people don't understand in context to the true history and systems of magic that were encrypted here into this reality field. Now, you can trace Kabbalah back as far as you want. And I guarantee you, if you trace it long enough, this all goes back to the Sumerian Draconian Empire. It goes back to the encryptions by the Dark Ones. This is not the original Western magical tradition, okay? Not to mention the fact that there's a difference between the Ari tree construct and the Gra. The Ari tree construct is a distortion implemented by the Dark Ones after the wars in Egypt took place. And people even say that Kabbalah came from fucking Egypt. That's a fucking lie. People don't even know about the Kemetan tree of life, let alone Yggdrasil and the other key components. I'm working on my end as a keeper of the sacred tree to bring back together again. And there is no distortions in context to the grid works before these motherfuckers started to colonize the human race after the invasions took place. This is really fucking ancient shit, and a lot of people don't know about this. The project that I'm working on right now, I'm about to fucking break shit down on a whole other fucking level. And Raziel, who is the keeper of the mysteries, told me directly that Kabbalah is fucking bullshit. And there's a lot of fucking orders out there that still work with Kabbalah in context to the Ari tree construct. This is the inverted tree of death and stagnation. It's the hall of mirrors, where everything is reflecting on itself, okay? And there's no difference between an angelic entity and a fucking demonic. There's 72 Goetia, and then there's the 72 names of God in reflection to the angelics, okay? But it's no fucking different. It's all the same dark gods playing on the fucking polarity that the Ari tree construct encrypts within the reality field. It is to fucking note that the systems of Albion are more ancient than Kabbalah. If anybody out there thinks that they have arrived by any fucking means, you are going to throw yourself into a fucking feedback loop you're not going to be able to come out of. I'm not negating anything in context to the Gra, but when it comes to the Ari, absolute fucking poison.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but intuitively, this is kind of what I'm gathering, is that this is an objective and very fundamental difference in the way that you're basing these structures, and it is everything to do with mathematics. I mean, it is objective. It's very much the code of the universe, and basically, is it safe to say that basically you could look at it like one is built upon the foundation and in alignment with the evolutionary force of the universe, and the other one is in alignment with the involutionary force.
Right. Yeah.
That's what that invoked within me.
Yeah. And this is going to be my disclaimer from here on out. There is a difference between the Gra and the Ari. The Gra is congruent and is a key component, along with everything else, in context to the true universal tree of life.
That's a very important distinction to make. And like you said, you're not trying to cause division. You're trying to clearly differentiate things that serve versus things that will keep you trapped and, you know, spinning your wheels, so to speak.
Yeah. And again, I'm not telling people to not study. Just know what the fuck you're getting into, because I've been in this game a long fucking time. I'm a fucking magician. I'm a shaman. I'm not fucking around here. And there is protocol when it comes to everything. A lot of people that I've known, I can trace their fucking experience when they got into it for real, and not just studying things at a surface level, because there's many ways that you can observe it, and there's a lot of things that are viable. It's obviously playing on certain fucking codes in context to what they have encrypted with planetary high magic, with the art and science of numerology and the tarot into that fucking system. It was for the sole purpose of mind control by the dark ones, using these arts and sciences against us on a daily fucking basis, like I've been saying. Because there's no denying the fucking fact that the dark ones work with the clip-off. Okay? And Kabbalah is no fucking difference. There is no goddamn fucking difference between the two. The two together are derivatives of one another. But that, in context to the Ari construct, is a distortion of what was broken off from the original, here in context to the Gra. And again, like I said, the Gra is congruent. It's 0 through 9. Okay?
Numbers don't
Right.
lie.
But we take everything back to the single digit code. I don't start counting at 1. I start counting at fucking 0. What is 0? 0 is a circle of the magician. 0 is the vortex.
It's the
0 is
cosmic
where you
egg.
make connection with the true fucking intelligence. If people want to go 1 in context to the magician, you're going to get pulled into all the left wing and the right wing brotherhood fucking bullshit.
It's like Brian and I have discussed in our a recent episode how the feminine precedes the masculine. Cosmic egg is the 0, and then out of that, all things spring forth from that. It's the starting. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, our ancient ancestors knew this, and there's a difference between the primordial womb and the void. Okay, and this is something else I want to say here in context, because the void is where all of the dark gods sprang forth. Okay.
Wow.
And this,
it's
here in context, is when the feminine force was taken the fuck over and used to seed their agendas in the earth. Evil is a fucking lineage. It's not just a state of mind. It's a fucking goddamn lineage that has been ruling this existence for far too fucking long. And now it's up to us. It's up to our kind to wake the fuck up and let other people know the fucking truth when it comes to these things. Okay? And then you're going to get my take on it. I'm not afraid to fucking say it. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks, because I can back this shit the fuck up. Not just with my research and study, but my own experience when it comes to Kabbalah as a system of magic.
And that's exactly why we wanted to do this interview with you, man.
And that brings me to the next point that I wanted to speak about you with, is next to the rings of Saturn and the things that we see happening with them and them dissolving, and Saturn being an energy that has been played on and inverted by the dark ones specifically. So would you like to delve into that? Because I know there's a lot we can get into here. Like I said, we see change happening here with this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And this is something that I've been, addressing myself, getting reports coming in saying that the rings of Saturn are dissipating. And see, I got really fucking excited hearing that shit. Okay? Because this is proof that fragments of shattered consciousness that were scattered out into the solar spiral of creation on account of the cataclysm of Maldek are starting to be reintegrated with certain individuals here in the fucking reality field.
Right.
Okay? And in context, again, Maldek was the original home of the human race before we started to incarnate here on Earth. Earth has always been a seed planet. It's one of the very few seed planets in Midgard. That's why it's such a goddamn fucking high commodity. Okay? That's why all eyes are on the fucking planet. Okay? But Midgard here in context is the entire physical fucking universe. Here in reflection to where we have incarnated, it is the Earth itself. Okay?
Right.
So, in context to our true origins, when you observe the card of the High Priestess in the tarot, The planetary correspondence for the high priestess is the moon and Saturn. And this all goes back to the Saturn moon matrix bullshit that all these conspiracy people are talking about. But see, they don't fucking understand the nature of what the fuck they're seeing on that horizontal axis trajectory, because they're not working with these arts and sciences. They don't understand the true nature of what's actually taking place. And it's not to say that it isn't observable. It's not to say that the Fibonacci sequence isn't observable in context to the bi-Vecca, bi-wave frequency template, okay? But it's all operating on a fucking distortion, opening up the fucking gates to the fucking dark gods into this realm, where it's giving birth to itself, but it also fucking devours itself. It's not operating on an open system where life was originally designed to continue to perpetuate itself on its own, being self-sustained. Okay? The dark gods, they are not self-sustained, so they need to feed.
Parasites.
And when you're cut off from the grid works of consciousness that originally connected us to eternity, we are still in the place, having incarnated into this fucking reality field. We're still in place with those fucking distortions. And this is why a lot of people don't get past certain fucking gates of awareness, because people are still operating with systems that were designed by the dark ones, and they don't even fucking know it, thinking that they have arrived.
Right. Absolutely. And that's something being revealed for me a lot too, especially working with Saturn myself. Not only my Saturn sits in Sagittarius in my 10th house. I've been going through.
Dude, I saw everything once you said that.
Yeah, so I have that, and then it also happens to be my Ishtadevata, and I've been experiencing, as of a few years ago, I started experiencing my Saturn return as well. Going through that, that age, like I'm getting ready to turn 30 here, so I'm still
get ready, man.
Not still youthful, young, got lots of fucking work to do here, but shit's been getting intense. I've felt that this dissolving has been going on, and obviously the knowledge of cosmic law and all this information that we actually have access to, true knowledge now, and that more and more of it's being revealed slowly as this dissolving process is taking place. I think an interesting thing for people to observe, the idea of rings being around Saturn. It is that binding illusion that was being cast around this true knowledge that they've had, this inversion that's been there.
Yeah.
So,
and the rings of Saturn all goes back to shattered consciousness. And one of the things in context to the destruction of Maldek, this is also to do with every single moon of all planetary spheres within the solar system. The art and science of astropsychology equates the moon a planetary sphere. It's not a moon in reflection to the physics of the Earth. I mean, it's way too fucking big for that. So what the fuck is that thing up in the sky, right? And I get into teaching this with our initiates. What does moon represent? It's how our thought and emotion operates. So this, in turn, goes back to shattered consciousness on account of how our thought and emotion operates. And if you don't start there, you're not going to get out of the fucking gate to the true will force that's there within you, igniting in alignment. It's not going to fucking happen because the radar of your fucking mind is completely blocked from any sort of fucking higher awareness whatsoever. Running on a two-strand consciousness, polarized within yourself, and then you wonder why the world is the way that it fucking is. And see, this has happened for a fucking reason. It didn't just end up like this. And it is to note that this is not the way the fuck things are supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. It's always been fucking abhorrent to me. Ever since I was a child, I had the same fucking attitude that I did as a child. I'm a fucking Scorpio. What are you gonna fucking do?
Right. Yeah, I could definitely relate to that. Being, like in the Western system, gets really fucking intense, but that's exactly how I want it to be. And this is, one thing with astrology is useful for me is I've seen even a lot of other astrologers from know, like, damn, dude, like I don't know if I want to fucking deal with that. That seems like you'd have to go through a lot of shit. That's the fucking experience I wanted. I wanted to work through this, that initiation, that you really find your true self and like what the fuck you're really made of, putting yourself to that fucking test.
When you had the choice to incarnate here, and it says select difficulty in expert mode, just
yeah, right. And like, as Sethikus is saying, not everybody is meant to have that same disposition. It does take a certain disposition of person to really want to dive into things in this kind of way, because it can be very overwhelming, very difficult. Like I said, you literally will lose your fucking mind at some point.
It's not for everyone. And like Sethikus was saying, that's why it's so important to have mentors to learn from, but also your peers. Your views on cooperation, collaboration, and networking as really the only viable strategy to shifting the power and the consciousness dynamic here in Midgard, because the forces that we're up against are so united and of one mind in their actions and their efforts. That,
I mean, they've had the last 26,000 fucking years to fucking get it together, man. And with where we stand right now, the fact that the Dark Ones don't have jurisdiction anymore, most people are just, coming into awareness for the most part. With a lot of people that I talk to, many of them, it's only been a few years. It's been over fucking 20 for me. Okay. They are fucking organized. They're organized like a motherfucker. They got the military-industrial fucking complex. What do you think? You can go fight the fucking Dark Ones physically? They got motherfucking nukes. It is to note here, the way that we are going to win this war for fucking real is by healing. Because once you rat out the jurisdiction within the blood codes and the soul codes, there's nothing that they can do to stop you from coming into alignment. And there is nothing they can do to fucking stop us from coming together. Our kind have jurisdiction. Okay? Their time is fucking up, but nobody knows it yet. This is an attitude that we have to have. I talk to people worldwide all the fucking time, and I'm at the same place within myself. It's like, okay, how the fuck does this all come together? And I've seen this envision happen, you know what I'm saying? And for the most part, people are just fucking tourists. No one's interested about coming together and doing some real fucking shit in context here. This is something that I deal with on a daily fucking basis in context of being frustrated because of the potential that's actually there. But we got to do it right in order for it to be effective. Okay? Because a lot of people, like I said, they come together. That's when all the fucking bullshit comes flying the fuck out, because no one's done the real fucking work. Beware of spirits of contention, dissension, anything that happens in context of people not willing to be held accountable. Because a lot of people, they're just running out and thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want. And how dare anybody challenge certain things, especially with all these new age motherfuckers. And it's all love and light and bullshit. But there's no accountability in context to how people are running fucking business, to how people are running their fucking groups. This is the Aquarian energy that we're talking about in context to networking groups and friendships.
Right.
Social rebellion, that's another fucking factor.
Right.
Because Aquarius wants to leave the world a better place, okay? But the tendency is not knowing how to navigate your personal fucking technology, and you're not doing the real work. This is why things don't succeed. This is why things haven't been able to be brought together on the scale that I've seen it. Not to say that certain people haven't come together and made shit fucking happen. But how effective do we want it to be? How powerful could it be, knowing the difference with all the nets, traps, and snares and fucking bullshit? Because if you want to bring your fucking drama into the fucking situation, I don't got fucking time for that shit. I don't know about you guys.
Fuck no.
Get the fuck out of my goddamn fucking temple, man. Yeah, I've been through too much fucking shit to allow certain things to perpetuate and poison the fucking well. So I'm always pretty fucking confrontational. If people want to work with me directly, get fucking ready, man. Because I'm just going to keep it raw and real. But that's how we have to be, especially as fucking men. And that is the masculine energy of care here.
Right.
We are not here to fuck around. We are not here to play games. We're here to do something powerful and take back jurisdiction. And it's going to take some serious fucking balls to fucking do that. To the scale of effectiveness that I've seen happen with other networks that I'm observing, what we're talking about is happening in the reality field, okay? But where are you in position in context to the etheric structure of things? Because what we set forth, certain individuals that are, say, shamanic lineage like myself, we live at certain vortices here in the earth, and where I'm living, it's called the Three Rivers Vortex. It's on the ley lines of the fucking earth. It's running in trajectory, okay? And so this is where I landed. And since I've come here and have been doing work, there are certain things that have been going out into the reality field and tearing down these etheric fucking constructs so that people are waking the fuck up. But to the scale that it could happen with our networks, where I'm taking it, I want to reinstate the wisdom councils, man. That's the real position in context to the Mad Guy Grail Shaman. This is my eternal spirit, the soul code, the blood code, and that's going to take a lot to fucking happen. And I deal with shit all the fucking time. To cast vision, I mean, I really don't want to go deep into it because, again, we're still in a major time of healing. The window of opportunity we're in right now, especially in light of the ancestors awakening in 2017, we're still in a major time of healing going into 2025 and 2028. And we have to go through this fucking process, you guys. We have to go through the real fucking initiations and really know how to make connection to the fucking core and know who the fuck you are before we start coming together in a way that's even more fucking powerful than these motherfuckers could ever fucking imagine.
Right. Something I resonate with a lot is tapping into that Aquarian energy. My North Node sits in Aquarius in both systems. So I'm very, very drawn towards figuring out how to build these network circles that are actually going to be very powerful in a practical way, figuring out how to actually implement things that really fucking work. And this is what we need to do, is start building these network circles. And we have this opportunity. We have amazing tools at our disposal, all this knowledge. And we just have to catch that opportunity and use it in the right fucking way, as we were talking about earlier, in order to make this happen.
This is a part of building a network, and now other people are obviously involved as well. And if people want to get a hold of me for a mentorship on my end, go over to my platform, my website, Black Earth Productions with a Z.com. Check out our services page. Everything is lined out there. Logan, you're a part of this, man. You're a part of our school. We're individuals that take this fucking shit seriously.
Right.
We are not fucking tourists here. This is going to continue to grow. I stayed focused. I didn't fuck around. I did it. Okay, and that's why we've been able to achieve a certain fucking level here in context. And it's going to continue to go out, and more people are going to come, and they're going to want to learn. They're going to want to know these things and come to be a part of it. In order to make the playing field even in context of the fucking aggregate, people need to know these fucking arts and sciences. What do we got nowadays? Some bullshit fucking indoctrination system. I saw it when I was younger. You guys saw it as well. But it's the same thing with the fucking universities. Okay? I used to work in the realm of secular psychology when I lived in fucking California, sitting at table with other PhD psychologists dropping metaphysical fucking bombs at table. And they look at me like, what school did you fucking go to, man? I said, well, I didn't go to your secular universities. I went to a different school. And the school that I went to is something that I've worked to create on my end with my specific platform. And that's what I do see unfolding. So this is very, very fucking powerful. I'm sick of people fucking talking.
We're on it, dude. The scope of our vision, dude, is so huge, and it's going to really help so many people, including ourselves. Our tagline is empower, inspire, and encourage. Yeah. And that doesn't come by just talking about stuff. Somebody who's just talking is not empowered.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always say at the end of my segments, be empowered, be encouraged.
I was actually going to mention that, man, because I just if nothing else, just as a disclaimer, we came up with that organically in our own conversation.
Yeah, it's cool, man. And people need to be inspired, empowered, and fucking encouraged, man. I'll say it along with you, because I'm saying the same goddamn thing on my end, man.
Each of those statements, those words, connect to an aspect of the trivium. You're empowered by the knowledge. You're inspired by the care, and you're encouraged to actually take action. Yeah. And it's just, I just thought that was really funny that we came up with that, and then I realized that you were
I just said it off the cuff, man. It just comes from my heart. It comes from an unknown fucking place.
I mean, it just goes to show how aligned we are with our ideology and like what we hold to be the core of importance with this, and aligning yourself.
That's the fucking attitude that people need to cultivate. You got to cultivate that fucking attitude, man. It's not going to be handed to you. What are you going to get inspiration from someone that's not fucking inspired or encouraged or empowered themselves, you got to give that to you. Right. You got to give it to yourself 10,000 fucking times more than you give it to other fucking people. That's when you become effective. That's when the energy of what you're saying, Logan, really fucking hits. It's in your eyes like fucking fire, man. Your life is an example of everything that you fucking say. And that's how we have to live. This is action. Many individuals still don't know how to apply any sort of proper knowledge and wisdom to their fucking existence.
Right. Yeah, we have to take it beyond intellectual masturbation. You could have read a fucking 1,000 books, but if you don't apply them, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it'd be better to read one and actually fucking apply that knowledge.
Exactly.
Take fucking action. Otherwise, you're just fucking with yourself and not getting anything done.
That's really one of the major sticking points that I'm observing among our ranks. People have a lot of knowledge about what to do, and they're just not doing it. They're not applying it. They're not integrating it. And I want to help cultivate that in others, but I find myself tread that fine line between respecting other people's sovereignty and not encroaching on that, because that's very fucking important too.
Yeah, it's a fine fucking line.
Right.
But if you're going to put yourself in the position to be accountable to truth, get ready to get ripped and torn to fucking pieces if fucking necessary. People have to be willing to fucking embrace the lessons necessary that's going to bring the change to the effect of what they say they fucking want, but aren't willing to go through the fucking process themselves. They want somebody else to fucking do it for them. Or they want to hang on the teaching of fucking guru snakes that keep people fucking stupid and stop fucking around thinking that you know shit and nothing is actually changing in your fucking life. It's a fucking joke. It's an absolute fucking joke, man.
We should always be able to look back and see where we were at this time the year before, and then look how much I fucking grown. I can't believe I was at that place. Continue to unfold, because if you're remaining stagnant or you think you found the only knowledge there is to have, that stagnation is death. It's that continual process of self-sacrifice in order to gain higher wisdom. And I think that's why a lot of the runes, you know, we see there's quite a few runes that deal with transformation and death, and obviously another really useful art and science to get into. And as we spoke about, Odin had that realization. It hit me really hard, and I've just been delving into them since then. There's so much fucking contained within them.
And that's why mentorship is necessary. But if you're going to be a fucking mentor, you better be fucking in alignment. And you better not be teaching some fucking shit that's going to fuck somebody up. Because that's the other factor. People run out and they start to try to teach this, and they still have yet to go through certain things. And that's why I didn't start teaching public in the fashion that I did until I reached a certain fucking level. The responsibility that it takes to be in a position, if you don't got your fucking shit together, sooner or later, it's going to be fucking exposed. If we're going to fucking grow, if we're going to fucking go to the next fucking levels. Because if you don't put yourself in that place, and then once truth comes onto your fucking doorstep, get ready for fucking chaos, man. Get ready for Fenrir to be fucking unleashed on your ass. Okay? And it is all about ordering that fucking Ragnarok, being willing to go into that in ritual. Otherwise, you're going to get raked through the fucking coals. You know, we as teachers, if we're going to build this fucking network, and you guys had me come on and have this conversation with you, again, being held accountable, theme that needs to be developed in context to networks and people coming together the right fucking way.
You know, our main mission statements here at the Wizard Factory is for remembering the tribe, but we need to bring ourselves back together and assemble the wisdom councils, as you speaking about. The opportunity that we fucking have here is just absolutely amazing, and if we fucking catch it and we do it the right way, the systems that we're going to be building, there's nothing we won't be able to achieve. And that's exactly what they don't want to fucking happen. So you have to start by starting to know yourself. That way you can take that out there. So whenever you are building these networks and these systems, your trauma isn't going to get in the way and fuck it all up.
And Sethikus, I wanted to commend you and just acknowledge gratitude that things played out in this way that Brian and I have come together as a team, a lot of the flack that comes at us from the external, and from other people.
Fuck all that, man. You're going to get that. You're going to get that shit. Are you willing to take the hits, man? Because you're not willing to take the hits like a motherfucking warrior. That's a part of the test right there. Just wait until you start getting fucking death threats, man. That is how fucking real it's gotten for me. Okay? Absolutely terrified of who the fuck we really are. That's something that is going to pull you into the realm of the unknown and potentially the unknowable here in context, because you don't know how to navigate. It's the unknowable because you don't know the arts and sciences that you need in order to navigate sound, consciousness, energy, frequency, and vibration, let alone knowing how to wield magic effectively. And there is no fucking reason why we cannot manifest everything that we need to be able to do what the fuck we're here to do.
Right.
The earth is our fucking playground. And once you know how things fucking work, and you can use their system against them, fuck them. Fuck them. It's all a game, you guys. Okay? And there are certain fucking rules set in place that they themselves aren't willing to fucking break, because that would expose them even fucking harder. And then more people would learn about how things work here. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot to get into, but coming together, it is going to be difficult because a lot of us are powerful individuals that operate from a position of being sovereign. Like, you ain't going to fucking tell me, motherfucker.
Right.
But it's different when you come together and you're trying to make shit happen, because without leadership, knowing what you're fucking getting into and establishing ranks of trajectory, we're all going to be operating. That's going to go out even fucking harder. The reason why it's so powerful is because it's fucking organized. Listen, most people can't even organize their own fucking existence.
They can't even
organize this. Right.
Right.
This is where it starts. This is where the fuck it starts. It starts with you. It starts from within. You guys got to know my background. You got to know where I'm coming from, because I'm coming from some hardcore fucking experience as far as organizations and networks go. And I know how to run a fucking organization. But being in a position of leadership, you do come up against that fucking contrast with people that are incompetent, people that are fucking half-ass, and they're not willing to go fucking all in. And if we're going to be effective, then it's going to take integrity and accountability to that standard and living by a fucking code and being fully fucking aware and fully fucking honest and not fucking lying. Do not fucking lie. If you bring lies into the fucking situation, people that don't live by a strict code of integrity, and they say that they're fucking awake and aware and they think they know what the fuck is going on, they're full of shit.
Right. Yeah. Holding yourself to that fucking standard, and then having other brothers in network that can hold you accountable and that you can bounce things off of. There's always all sorts of things to go on to. That's one thing, I'm really thankful for, is Logan as a partner. There's someone that I know will reflect back to me honestly when I bring something to the table, and isn't afraid to tell me something that I may not want to hear at the time, because that, that's the shit that you need to fucking hear.
That is how true friendship is also established. That is how trust is built. And I'll tell you guys straight the fuck up. I don't fucking trust anybody, because I know how people can flip on a fucking script like that.
Happens to us all the time, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what the fuck? Really? We ain't got fucking time for that shit in this reality field anymore as fucking men. If people want to get a hold of me, you can check out our platform here at Black Earth Productions on YouTube. Check out the website at blackearthproductions.com. And if people want to be initiated with our mystery school, send me an email at blackearthproductions@hotmail.com. And get ready, because none of us here are fucking around whatsoever. And I think it's very powerful with everything tonight as we've gotten into things.
All his links will be down in the description if you want to get a hold of him. Check out his website. Check out his full pack initiation. I've done it myself, and I can personally attest that it is the real fucking deal, and with the value that you get from that. Thank you for coming on, Sethikus. It's been a really awesome conversation. And to the viewers out there, catch us next week for another episode. And until then, be empowered, inspired, and encouraged.